Welcome to another live edition of Saturday's Warrior. I'm Trevor.
Yeah.
Joined with by Adam, and as he's made apparent, Jarom Jordan, a man who needs no introduction. So, Jarom, welcome.
What's up? How we doing?
Doing great. Thank you so much for joining us again. You know, you were on about this time last year. You were on paternity leave at the time, and
did I have a beard? I'm trying to
you
remember.
grew out the beard.
Oh yeah.
Don't tell anybody.
Yeah,
no one saw it, I'm sure.
I felt really honored that we got bearded Jarom Jordan. But if you haven't, I need to go find it. I'll put it in the show notes, or I'll put a link in the video so you guys can go back and look. I want to know if people, which beard was a bigger travesty to see shaved? Was it Jarom's or was it Kevin Young's?
I think it's Kevin Young's. Yeah.
Yeah.
The thing was pretty good. Yeah.
It was sad. I mean, he's still a good-looking guy, but that was a solid beard. So
that was an NBA Finals beard. I mean, that was good. They had a good run, 21 with that beard.
Well, you know, it makes you think if he could grow it out for this season, what he could accomplish. The question is, did he still have the beard when he met AJ? Was that really what, like, the source of his power? Or no, I mean, he kept going. He shaved it. He keeps going. So
well, no, because he had shaved it to get the job. But I don't think he met did he meet AJ before he was the coach? I thought it was when he was coach.
I thought
have to be the coach.
Didn't he Zoom meet or something? I thought it was in June.
When he was with the Suns. Well, once he was hired, he had shaved.
Oh, you're right. He had already shaved.
Yeah.
He didn't have the press conference.
The press conference, the whole thing. Yeah. So okay. I think he had shaved. Yeah.
Okay. So bad theory. Okay.
Pope still doesn't have a beard, even though he can have one. Just pointing that
out. That's something Mark Pope and I have in common. So
Mark can also grow his hair out, but he just shaves it. So
well, that I don't have a problem with.
Now you're dropping hot takes, Jarom. I had no idea.
What else can you tell us about Mark Pope's
I love
hair
Mark.
Or style? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
No, we're good with Mark. I think Adam. We've discussed this. We're cool with Mark Pope. Right?
I'm a huge Mark Pope fan. Even before we hired Kevin Young, I wanted him to do well. I wanted Kentucky to win. I hope we play him in the championship game this year. It'll be great.
That'd be amazing. Let's go.
Yeah, and beat him.
Of course.
Yeah. All right. Well, obviously, Jarom Jordan of BYU Sports Nation, as well as other shows on BYU TV. You're all over the place. If people don't know you, I don't know why they're on my show, but
we're glad you're here regardless.
But so today we want to take advantage of having Jarom here and want to talk about a few things that maybe a little bit less, still BYU focused, but a little bit less specifically BYU, a more big picture with Big 12 and other things that maybe aren't talked about on a daily basis, because we all get to hear your takes all the time. But first, hopefully you're not caught off guard with this, but we got to talk about, you had a great take last week on the quarterback battle. And I'm really kind of curious about what kind of reception that take has gotten, how other people have responded, and if in the time since then, if your opinion shifted at all.
I don't know that I was surprised. People were excited and thirsty for, hey, what's the latest with the quarterback situation? And I just said late last week, if someone missed it, if McKay Hillstead, Trayson Bourguet, and Bear Bachmeier are very similar, just go with Bear. Because if the two more experienced dudes in Hillstead and Bourguet have not used that experience to their advantage and stepped in front of him in some way, in an obvious way, to the team and to Aaron Roderick, then their time was up to me of getting to prove that. In the preseason, certainly in season, if someone struggles and you need a different look, that opportunity could be there. We don't want that, but that's the reality. So we'll see. Like right now, if I had to guess at who was sort of out in front just by a hair, I would say it's Bear. I would. Then McKay, then Trayson.
What's that based on, Jarom? I'm interested because I read the reports coming out of camp, but it's hard to look through that crystal ball.
Right. Yeah, that's based on conversations I've had with people of what they're seeing, but it's not like he's way out in front.
Yeah.
It's not like he's crushing McKay and Trayson, or Trayson's way behind. It's these three guys are pretty close. And Aaron Roderick did say, hey, there's been some separation for one guy. And my guess is that is Bear based on conversations I've had. I think McKay's had a good camp. Frankly, I think Trayson's had a good camp. He's just not been consistent enough, Aaron Roderick said. Aaron Roderick told Spencer Linton, we aired it today, hey, Trayson actually knows the offense the best of the three. And then some people were like, oh, that means he's his guy. But he said, I'm seeking more consistency. Aaron was asked, give me a thing they're doing well and then something they need to work on. And that was his answer. McKay, he loves how much he knows the system, but he needs him to pick up the tempo a little more. And then Bear, they want him. Aaron said, I need to see him with our best players. That tells me he's probably getting some good reps with the ones, which they've divided equally so far. What is it like when he's thrown to Chase Roberts versus a second string guy? Which the funny thing is his brother Tiger is among that kind of 4 to 6 wide receiver group, the second string. So he's going to play a bunch, it sounds like, which is exciting. So we'll see. Like Trayson or McKay or Bear still have this week to crush it. Then it feels like the end of this week or maybe next week, they could figure out who the guy is and then give them all the reps for a good 2 weeks.
I think that's fascinating. I did not anticipate Bear being able to provide any separation as a true freshman. He's clearly the one with the highest ceiling, and I thought we were for sure going to be in a situation where it's probably Hillstead, maybe Bourget, but at some point you're going to have to transition to Bachmeier if you want to keep him in the program and you want to, use him to his fullest potential. He's got to have the reins because of his ceiling is so high. But if he's already, I agree with you. If he's neck and neck with him, man, just hand the reins over to him. But I'll tell you, that would be unique. You just don't see true freshmen starting on a contender. You see true freshmen starting on rebuilds or, in unique circumstances like that. But someone who feels like they really can vie for the title, that they're the top 3 or 4 teams in the conference, you're not seeing a lot of true freshmen.
It's very rare. I mean, redshirt freshman. Sam Levitt was a redshirt freshman. Redshirt at Michigan State, transferred to Arizona State. He's the guy. They had a great year. It is unique because July quarterback transfer of Jake Retzlaff. Like if Jake's still in the program, it's a battle for the backup. The ideal situation would have been that you redshirt Bear, and then next year he competes for the job like this. But see, McKay and Trayson still have a chance to win the job. I'm telling you, like they're not out of this. I'm just saying, as of now, this is my perception. This week, what if McKay is the best by far? Then he might be the guy. And McKay, if he can use his experience, use his legs, and okay, what do you do great? That needs to be super obvious and prevalent. Trayson is sort of a mix of like he can run, he can throw, he's got more experience starting. He's been in college a year longer than McKay. Like those attributes need to stick out and be obvious. And right now it feels like they haven't been as obvious as maybe they were hoping or what they could be. And so if that's the case, Bear Bachmeier could be the first true freshman starter. I'm not saying he is, but he very well could be on August 30th.
I'd be thrilled with that.
And
I think a lot of Cougar Nation would be.
Yeah, I think so.
And ultimately, just win games. Like I have no preference of player. I'm just telling you sort of the vibe based on what I'm hearing. Saying, my preference is winning. Like I don't care who the quarterback is. If they run the offense, great. That guy, whoever it is.
Yeah, no, and we had said this, at the beginning of the Retzlaff thing that, if your freshman is right there, put him in because he's got the highest upside. But now that we're getting closer, I've kind of flipped and I'm a little bit more conservative on the inside because I think it is risky playing a true freshman, even if he does have the higher upside. However, just like I wanted Retzlaff to win the QB battle last year because that meant we'd have continuity and he would have another year, we thought, with the program after. And that's kind of how I look at Bachmeier is I'm thinking, yes, he's the future. So I'd like to see him in now. Now, having said that, I kind of lean towards going with a little bit of experience if it's close. But if you drop one of the first 6 games at that moment, I think ride the future. Because if you've lost one of the first 6 games, I think at that point,
one loss.
One loss?
Not normally, but with this schedule, we've got a stretch, and we're going to talk about it. I want to talk about that stretch tonight. 4 games between Utah through TCU. I think is going to be a very difficult stretch. And so you're going through the first 6 games, and I don't know. I know that's not a very long leash.
That's aggressive. That's aggressive, Trevor. I mean, but and I get your point. Like, but I just don't think our season's in the tank with one loss. I think if you're looking at 2 or 3 losses, right? If you're at 3-3, yeah, I'm kind of with you on this first, because those are your most winnable games in the schedule, and if you're really struggling, then I could see that. And obviously it depends on the context of the losses, right? I mean, 2 very close losses, I'd be comfortable with it. 2 blowouts, 4 close wins. It's that kind of mentality. But I agree. To me, at some point, you got to transition to Bachmeier. Probably by the end of the season, you got to give him a signal where we're saying, hey, we think you're the guy moving forward, because Bachmeier's not going to sit here for 2 or 3 seasons behind Hillstead or Bourget.
Yeah, I don't think the coaching staff would make that move that aggressively. But yeah, I think at least 2 losses in these first 4 games. Like at that point, you're kind of out of the Big 12 race, probably. But anyway, we got a couple comments I want to throw up here real quick. We got one that says just go with Bear. Nice.
A lot of people feel that way, right? Like if it's not obvious, and these guys were the 3rd and 4th strings last year. Like they weren't going to play much. But now's their time. So I was hoping they would really kind of emerge. The fact they haven't tells me that maybe Bear is a viable option, right?
Yeah, I think so. And I think this is a good point from BYU football. He says, I'm fine with Bear, but there's going to be freshman mistakes. Can the fans' expectations be lowered for the season? I don't think the fans' expectations will shift a lot. I think
at BYU? No.
They haven't shifted since Gary Scheide, so I think I think we're fixed on our expectations. But it's true. There's going to be freshman mistakes. Can you limit those in the scheme? Are you comfortable with them? I think last year when you look at some of the more cringy turnovers we had from Retzlaff, but we go 11-2. The fan base kind of unites around that, and we kind of lived with the pros and cons of Jake Retzlaff being a gunslinger. I don't think Bear's necessarily a gunslinger. He's a freshman, and so while that's going to improve throughout the season, you still are going to see didn't see a wide open receiver, didn't get the right call at the line for the blitz. Those kinds of things are going to be more complex, and any freshman's going to struggle with it.
Yeah, there's going to be moments if it is in fact Bear, and heck, if it's McKay or Trayson, it's first time in Power 4. I mean, it's one thing to do it at Utah State, Western Michigan. It's another to do it at BYU. And so it's an uphill battle no matter who it is. BYU was not expecting this. It was July. If this happened in March, I think they would have tried to bring in a veteran to compete for the job, and then it would have been a little different. But because of how late in the game it was, BYU has the cards they have, and they got to deal with it.
Jarom, I'm interested in your thoughts on Bourget's experience at Western Michigan. His stats did not look good. I mean, he had a couple amazing throws there. You see the arm talent, but just overall, really, really poor play from the quarterback position. Yet Roderick believes in him. He recruited him out of high school. Mm-hmm. Is he a guy that really has what it takes at the P4 level to perform on that stage if he goes to Western Michigan as a freshman? And it's not just he had freshman mistakes. He had some 34% completion percentage games, missing guys on the 5 and out, simple stuff.
Yeah, and that's tough. And certainly in his eyes, I bet he's like, well, give me a chance. Like, let me actually get in the game and do this. You got to do it in practice first. You got to win that job against, 2 other guys. And and then there were games like Iowa where he played really well, and had some good throws where you're like, okay, I can see where this could go. Here's a guy that's played 7-on-7 a bunch. His family, I think, kind of owns and runs a team, and his brother's at Arizona State, and he's got a lot of experience in football and is very cerebral and knows the offense really well, like Aaron Roderick said. Ultimately, you got to combine the decision-making, the mental game with physically making plays, and whoever that guy is that gives you the best chance, that's great. All 3 are working out with John Beck, so we've checked that box for the BYU fans.
Do the ESPN commentators know to say that?
That fun, very treaded over storyline. So, yeah, John.
Who else worked out with John Beck? Was there somebody else? Did I miss that?
Yeah, exactly. I think literally every quarterback since Zach Wilson has worked out with John. Zach, Jaron, Keaton, Jake, all 3 here. Yep.
I wish they went.
He's the quarterback whisperer. Yeah, he's our boy. 3D QB for the win.
He clearly saves his best coaching for Cougar quarterbacks.
That's what we're hoping. I think some of his NFL clientele and other big name guys would argue otherwise. But yeah, he's done a nice job with a bunch of guys.
Tell John we want him to go back to doing his YouTube where he breaks down the plays and stuff.
I know, right?
Oh, that was awesome.
I'll text him tonight and go, bro. The people are clamoring.
We're clamoring for it. Another hot topic right here is obviously the AP Top 25 drop today.
How about that?
And I didn't realize this. I was busy. I was running around. I didn't look at the others receiving votes. I just saw, as I expected, BYU would not be in the top 25. Didn't realize that they were the first team out. So what do we make of this?
I was surprised they were that high, frankly. I didn't think BYU would be in, or if they were in, maybe just barely. But that shows the respect for the program, for what they did last year, for what they're building, for who they returned, for the continuity of the coaching staff. I think that means something. It's not a big deal. I don't really like the preseason polls. I think it's just a brand reaffirmation of everybody else. But we're not ranked very often, just 12 times ever. Today was almost number 13. That's not very often for how often this team has won a bunch of games. I mean, this is a top 10 winning program the last 40, 50 years. And so what we're good at, though, is exceeding expectations. And with Jake leaving, people are not thinking that BYU is going to contend for a championship. And that's probably fair given you're throwing in a new quarterback. But I'm excited for the team to have another chip on the shoulder. They've really thrived in that situation. And so let's see if they can't get out to a good start with what feels like some probable wins at the beginning of the season. And then there's a gauntlet. Can you survive it? Can you get tiebreakers to break your way? And can you somehow end up in Arlington at the end of the year? I'm not going to say this team can't do it. Is it likely? Probably not, given the new quarterback. But the defense is back. Special teams looks amazing. Offense has basically all the pieces back around the quarterback. Looks like BYU could contend again. Let's play it out. Let's see, man.
Yeah, I think go ahead, Adam. You first.
No, I was going to say, I don't know that you could get in a better spot. I like the warehouse. You need that fuel for the fire. This team thrives on that stuff. The disrespect, the lowered expectations from what they did last year. So I like that they're not in the top 25, but it does have an impact when you have to crawl your way up there and how sometimes the playoff committee tends to mirror what's in the AP. Well, I mean, it clearly has an influence in there, has some correlation there. So you don't want to be too far down where you're crawling all the way back and you're undefeated and ranked at 23rd. And so I think this puts us in a good position still where we can move up the first half of the season with that favorable schedule. But you got to have that fuel for the fire. You got to have that disrespect for BYU because it just plays into the team character and who they are.
It's kind of in our DNA a little bit, right?
Yeah.
It's like the pioneers, like try to move around, establish themselves. That was BYU in conferences. It's nobody believes in us. They don't believe we're even Christian, or whatever. Like the theology of like you can become great, and it all plays into sort of like we can do it. We can do hard things, right? And this is a hard thing for BYU to break in a new quarterback that's never played Power 4. Like you think about it, Parker Kingston has 3 touchdowns as a Power 4 receiver. The 3 have 0 combined. Like, is Parker Kingston actually the best quarterback on the team at the moment? I kid, but it's
the best in the state of Utah.
Hey, Roy quarterbacks at BYU, Jim McMahon and Parker Kingston. You know what I'm saying? So it's all good.
He throws a pretty ball from that receiver position.
He really does. Like he's crazy comfortable with that. Remember Chase Roberts threw a pass to Jaron Hall in 2022 against Baylor? Chase has got an arm too. Yeah, Chase has got an arm too. So yeah, it's another obstacle. I think we like in the Avengers, they were like, oh, Captain America thrives when there's like conflict. Like there's always conflict. He just seeks conflict. I think BYU is good at, hey, people don't think we can do a thing. Let's figure it out. They don't think we can get AJ DeBonsa. Let's get him. They don't think we can do such and such in the Big 12. Like, let's do it. So I think it's in our DNA to do hard things.
They told me I couldn't get Jarom Jordan on the show, and now I've done it.
Yeah, that's what the people said. It was pretty easy. It was a Twitter DM.
Yeah, he was actually really nice. He just said, sure. Yeah, okay. So along your point here, from Cougar Stats has a tweet.
Cougar Stats, what's up? They were dropping dimes today on Twitter.
Yeah, so I'm sure you saw this one. Over the last 50 years, BYU has appeared in the final AP poll of 13 times. of the season 13 times when also unranked in the preseason poll. So you look at this and these other teams, and it's just
Wow.
So we start unranked and we end ranked.
That is an excellent statistic.
More than anybody.
The disrespect meter.
Yeah.
the reaction to the disrespect, right? Like BYU actually does it. Okay, you don't think we're in this? That's great. At some point, BYU's got to turn a corner in that, by the way. So respond to success with success. So if BYU can win 9 games this year, return that quarterback, now we're talking about a team that would be ranked next year. And then you build, and there's a 5-star coming in a couple of years. And that recruiting class in 26 that'll really be together in 28 and really affecting the game the most in probably 29, 30, 31. Now we're talking of you're always getting to that point where basketball feels like they are right now. Sweet 16. We're going to turn a corner and hopefully have a first Final Four in program history. Like, feels like football's got some really good momentum too. Basketball did it just a touch faster. Football, and frankly, basketball, you can get a couple dudes that swing your season in a major way. Football, you need like so many guys. It's a different beast in that space. But I think we all feel it, the momentum of the football program headed in an amazing direction.
All right. Well, a couple more things on, I think, the QB situation here, and then we'll put a bow on that. But it says BYU football is asking, how much longer does A-Rod wait until he announces a starter?
So he mentioned Saturday to Spencer and to the media, hey, we don't have an exact timeline, but we would love, who knows, maybe by the end of this week or next week. So we'll see. It sounds like that's when training camp will end and they'll start the preseason prep for Portland State specifically. So I think once they determine that, whenever that is, sounds like they want to have that person. And if someone has the edge right now and they give them more reps with the ones and they show that they can do it, maybe they run with that guy. I would argue we don't like this idea probably as fans, but against Portland State, it's not a terrible thing if you're seeing reps from multiple guys. In fact,
I hope we're up by enough that we can.
Yes. Yeah. And if BYU's not, is it 2017 again? And we're asking some questions that we hope aren't answered in the way we don't want. Of like, 20 to 6? No, we're fine. It's game 1. There have been issues in game 1 that didn't yield issues the whole season. Like, it's not like 2017 was the anomaly, but 2017 was an abomination. 4-9. That was terrible. But what we didn't see was, okay, just wait. Around the corner, we're going to have some young bucks that'll be in the NFL, 2018-19 building, and then boom, you got 20 and 21, which are really special. And then, BYU was off and running.
We have, 19 days until Portland State?
19 days. Yeah, that's what we said.
So, how much longer does A-Rod wait to announce the starter? 19 days is when he'll announce the starter. I think the decision's made, and I know he said he wants to announce it earlier this year, but, man, we've been through so many quarterback battles, and it's always mouth is closed until, so-and-so walks out onto the field for drive number 1.
He said to Spencer, I have to talk to Kalani about this, but I don't think it's a big advantage for us to hide that. I think that we would just tell everybody, the team, everybody, the public this year. So I thought, oh, good. Because I thought, we're going to have what last year happened. We'll just see who runs out there. Internally, they would know. And then Pete Thamel will break it Saturday morning on game day on August 30th or whatever, which I think was the case last year for the opener against Southern Illinois. But, all good. We don't need a big advantage against Portland State like that, right? It doesn't matter. Portland State, by the way, plays in week 0. So does Stanford.
I saw that.
And so does Farmageddon, Iowa State, Kansas State, which I'm really
some good week 0 football to watch.
Babe, I'm really sorry. I got a bunch of games today. I didn't think it started until next week. No, it started this week.
Week 0.
I'm so sorry. It's week -1 in the future. By the way, I wish that we just started earlier in August so that the championship game was like late December or early January. Now we're bleeding into basketball a little too much, conference play and whatnot, especially now that we're invested in basketball.
Exactly.
I wish that we just said, no, camp's in July. We're playing games in August. Like, let's go. We're all ready for it. It's the dog days. Granted, the Mariners are actually playing well this year, so actually I'm engaged at the end of the summer.
like I understand they want to wait till students are on campus, but I feel like schools are starting early and earlier anyway. But also, if you're going to open your season, if you're going to open your season against Portland State, like, or you're waiting for I don't know, to show up for that game. I mean, I don't know.
School hasn't started by August 30th, by the way. Just pointing that out. But yeah, that's a great point. It's tight end. There are universities like University of Oregon. I swear they start like the third week of September. Their students are just there to go to football games for almost a month. It's BYU starts pretty early, relatively speaking. It's crazy.
Interesting.
Stanford, like when Bear Bachmeier enrolled early at Stanford, it was like in February. BYU, it's like a couple days after January 1st, the soonest they can get it feels like. They're different sort of academic calendars that go on around the country.
Yeah, true. One more comment here on this is 1-2 says, what are the chances BYU goes to with the 2 QB model for the first couple of games?
Think it's low. I did bring up the idea of like, hey, you could run with a guy, but you can give that second string guy some run against Portland State if you want. But I can see the argument of, nope, we're going all in. And I think that's what BYU will do is, nope, you're our guy. We're going to run with you and see how this goes, of course, and give you a decent leash here and figure it out. And if it is Bear, he's going to get a longer leash than McKay or Trayson would because he's a freshman. Yeah. And frankly, one of the best things for an offensive coordinator is to have a freshman quarterback. He gets some leniency and a little bit of forgiveness that you don't get with a sophomore, junior, or senior. And so,
yeah, I think everyone forgave Jake for all those.
I mean, the OC, like, obviously, if it's like terrible, it's different. But if you're building and growing and you can see some positivity, like Zach Wilson, second half of 2018, Jake Keeps, most of 2010, right? We all felt going into the next year like, hey, we're going somewhere. This is good. Obviously, if you're like Utah with Isaac Wilson was like he gets thrown in and it doesn't go well, right? They bring in Dampier. They declare him the guy like super early. It's like, and Isaac's like, wait, I came back to be the backup. So it doesn't always sort of work out, but Isaac's one play away. Everybody's one play away, Yeah.
I would say with 3 guys who have not had live reps, you got to go with one guy just for that experience factor. Like, get him as much experience as possible. If you got 2 guys who've played a little bit, they're neck and neck, you got a transfer coming in, you can go with 2 QBs for a game, even though it's painful to watch. But the team's got to rally around someone. You got to develop the cohesion, the chemistry, and it's always uncomfortable when you have, if you got 2 QBs, you got none. You need the guy.
And let's be honest, whoever the backup is, one of these guys is going to be a third string. Whoever the backup is, they've got to be ready too, because getting a guy through a whole season is crazy. Jake Retzloff did it last year. That was nuts. He was playing pretty banged up against Kansas the week after Utah. Utah with physical defense. We tipped the hat. Like, they emotionally took a lot out of BYU, and physically they beat Jake up. And obviously we realized he was going through other stuff as well. So yeah, you probably need 2 anyway. Even if Bear's the guy, McKay or Trayson's got to be ready.
Yeah. So I hope to answer that question is that we see somebody because we're up by a lot, and then you pull, and then you put in your second stringer. Yeah. Not alternating series or something like that. That to me is the 2 QB system. I don't like that.
I don't anticipate that happening. Yeah, 2010 was what is that the last time BYU really did that?
I think so.
They had Riley Nelson, Jake Keeps against Washington, and they were rotating. Yeah, let's not have that.
Nope.
Okay, another question about Trey Alexander's shoulder. Have you heard anything on that?
Jay Hill mentioned publicly that he was out, but I've heard he's going to be just fine, which is great. It's not anything super long, right? Like with Justin Kirkland, it sounds like that could be lingering a little bit. Hopefully he'll get back as soon as possible. If that's a couple games in, I don't know exactly, but hey, great. That's better than him missing half the season or something, right? He's a big piece of the defense that they really need as soon as possible. When he's in there, we're 4 deep pretty comfortably. When he's not, it's about 3 deep right now, in my opinion. So that's one of those injuries that if you're gonna have a minor injury, now's the time. It's week 3 of camp. You got 2 weeks, and then you got game week. So I think Trey's gonna be a pretty stinking good corner for BYU. By the way, 6'2", 175 with speed. We don't get those guys a lot. Maury Bamba, Evan Johnson. Jonathan Cabea. I like that group. I think it's going to be fun. Cannon DeVries, by the way, off a mission, has done a nice job. He's the guy that's like apparently running with threes. That's impressive.
Awesome. Have you been at the practices?
I've been at the practices where they make it available to the media. So that's about twice a week. Yeah.
Okay. So you've been at those. And has there been anything that's really jumped out of you, like any major observations you've had?
Anything that I want to make major, I don't, because it's just a piece. It's like a period or two of the practice. And so McKay Hillstead could have crushed the first hour and 45 minutes. And then we see one throw that isn't good. And it's like, it doesn't tell the whole story. You're reading one chapter of the book. So no, not really. This is a solid group. The offense will struggle in fall camp because they're going up against one of the top 20 defenses in America. And so even if you had Jake Retzloff in there, I still think you'd hope it'd be 50-50. And right now, the defense is probably winning more days than not because they're the more experienced seasoned group right now. But when the offense goes up against the first 4 or 5 opponents, 6, 7, those defenses are not as good at the ones they look at every day in practice, which is good for this offense.
So let's take a look at we were talking about it earlier, the really difficult stretch of the schedule, starting with Utah, which in the middle of October, nobody likes that.
Yeah, come on.
Brett Yormark has done a lot of great things for the conference. This is a big miss in my book, but nonetheless, that's when Utah is, followed by Iowa State, who was a team we would have liked to have had a crack at last year, but it's in Ames. Fortunately, we get a bye after that. And you just talked about Kansas, how beat up we were for that game last year, emotionally and physically, and then the following week after Utah. But then we go to Lubbock for Texas Tech, and then finally we get TCU at home, which is a team that BYU struggled with for several times in a row now that we've played them. So I know that unfortunately firsthand. So going way back. But so walk us through a little bit how you think, because these are some of the other, at least maybe not all the, some of the tier 1 teams of Big 12 and some of the other teams that are kind of considered that next tier, how BYU should fare against these teams and, how they stack up and what we should expect.
Yeah, preseason expectations are one thing. And then once we get through game 6, so Portland State, Stanford, at ECU, at Colorado, West Virginia, at Arizona, we're going to have a good sense of who BYU is. And that's an easier part of the schedule. Not easy, but easier. You will have played 4 Power 4 opponents, and we feel pretty good about BYU at a minimum going 4-2 in that space, 5-1. Who knows if things are going great, 6-0. Then you hit the back 6, like you mentioned. That is a tough stretch. Utah is tough no matter what. Last year, Utah struggled. Almost beat BYU. BYU came out on top on that one. That was great. Don't really care what Utah's record is. It's always a great win, right? At Iowa State is crazy tough after Utah. That is terribly placed. I hate the placement of that game because Iowa State is a physical football team that has some real skill and should be a contender in the league. Bye week, much needed, as you mentioned. At Texas Tech, this is the billionaire boys. They got Cody Campbell's money. They've got some real good transfers. Will they gel by this point to where they're super effective in winning a ton? And this is a crazy tough game. That 3-game stretch to me defines the season. If you can go 2-1, you got a chance at the Big 12 title. You have a chance. If you go 1-2, you're probably out. Because as you mentioned, TCU is a really tough game coming off Texas Tech. I think BYU is going to be beat up a little bit at that point. Hopefully they do some beating up of the opponents. But TCU, and then you hope to finish strong with at Cincinnati and UCF teams with some struggles the last couple of years. UCF, of course, with Scott Frost and whatnot. Orlando boys coming to the cold of Provo on senior night. You would hope that BYU would do what they did down in Orlando last year. So that 3-game stretch of Utah at Iowa State at Texas Tech with a bye week wedged in between Iowa State and Texas Tech, to me, that defines the season. And last year we said, this is hard. And then it ended up being that BYU actually got a pretty favorable schedule. Who knows? Maybe Iowa State struggles, Texas Tech struggles. I just don't think Iowa State's going to. They had never had a 10-win season till last year, but I think they're on this trajectory where Rocco Becht and the boys are going to be really good. They lost 2,000-yard receivers to the NFL, both on the Texans, by the way. That's crazy that they're on the same team. But then Texas Tech's tough, man. They are building something special. Like they're doing in football what BYU's kind of doing in basketball. They're using the portal effectively. They've got NIL money, all that stuff. So it's tough, man. But it is nice to not have Arizona State, Kansas State, Baylor. I mean, it's nice to avoid those three. And so it's a doable schedule to me to get to 9-3, overall, and then 6-3 in the league would be my kind of. This would be probably the high end for BYU breaking in a quarterback. If they exceeded 9 wins, I would be surprised. That'd be great. I'm here for it. We're all here for it. Realistically, like if you're playing a freshman quarterback, if Bear's the guy, there's some lumps there. And maybe the defense is better. Maybe special teams is even better. Maybe the run game is incredible with LJ Martin, who looks even better than he has been the last couple of years. That could all come together. It's just hard. It's just hard to win college football games. Can BYU go 4-2 or better again in one-score games? Can they have 22 interceptions? Can they have the best kicker and punt returner maybe in college football again? I mean, that was a lot of special sauce. And it feels like they do have a lot of special sauce on this team. So we'll see.
I'm interested, Jarom, in diving a little deeper into the Utah game. Obviously, your focus is on BYU, but do you have a brief scouting report or overall assessment of Utah's program, specifically a new offense coming in, Jason Beck leading the way, Devin Dampier, who's a smaller guy, 12 TDs, 12 picks last year. I think he's getting a lot of love as newcomer of the year, but as a BYU fan, I might have a different take. What's your thought on Utah?
Can't stand that they have a bunch of BYU guys on the offensive side. That's just real tough. It's taking some getting used to. As is, it probably is for them to have defensive guys like Jay Hill, Sione Puha, Gary Anderson, Raymond Singleton is a guy who's a GA as a former receiver up there. So there are Utes down here too. We've swapped quite a bit over the years. They all started here though. It feels like.
Has Jason Beck ever made the drive to work with John Beck?
That's a good question. Or is he like, well, I'm a quarterback coach. I'm my own Beck. No, I don't think so. Yeah, Dampier's interesting because he is a smaller guy. He is 5'11". He's listed at 5'11". No one who is 5'11" lists themselves at 5'11". He's probably 5'10". I don't know.
Yeah.
He can run though. This cat can run. Like he is good. Can BYU slow him down in the pass game? They do have a very good offensive line. They got multiple NFL guys there. Lomu at left tackle, and then the right tackle is eluding me. Spencer Fano, the one that got away. He is he's really good on the right side. Lomu on the left. And then they've always had decent skill position players. Can they get good quarterback play? That defense was really good last year. It's tough to go against. And is there win one for the Gipper near the end of Kyle's tenure up there? I don't know sort of the motivations there. What's that going to be like?
Yeah.
And I want so bad for the rumor to be true that, Kyle didn't want it to be the last game just in case. Like I want that to be true so bad. I have no idea if it's true. I don't care. But it's a huge game no matter what. And BYU's got this nice little streak going, and we're on a level playing field now. And so BYU's been operating without all the TV money, without a Power 4 league, and now it's year 3. BYU's settling in nicely. They look and feel like a major power conference player. Utah got this head start, but now BYU's in it, so it's a fun dynamic, and I love that game. And so we'll see what it's like on October 18th, man. Hopefully BYU brings the juice, and they will, because it's Utah, man. When you see that crimson, you see that royal blue, it's just emotional.
Yeah.
Somehow I missed this because I honestly spend very little time thinking about Utah. In fact, I should think about them more because they're in our conference, but they play ASU the week before us. I mean, they get ASU at home. That's a big game leading up to us, whereas we're playing Arizona, which I don't want to write anybody off, but that is, a different situation. So,
and who knows where each team is? Maybe No Fita figured it out, and Arizona's interesting. Maybe true. Arizona State has a couple of, I don't know. But on paper right now, that's a massive game the week before, which you love to see.
Yeah, for sure.
And by the way, because Utah's the rival, I'm not afraid to admit I'm interested in what happens there. I am.
Oh yeah.
I love to watch them almost every Saturday because I want to be ready for that game when it happens and know the storylines and know the players and everything. Like I scout Utah second to what I watched with BYU. Like I love the rivalry. It's fantastic. I'm glad we're in the same league now.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, me too. I didn't mean to that. I just don't follow them enough, and I should. I'd like to, and I just don't think. Oh yeah, I should probably know more about them.
I'm not
just a subtle slight on our rivals. They're not even important enough to cross your mind.
They don't, and they're always saying, "Oh,
we're thinking about each other." Come on, we don't like to admit it. I love
post something on X and see how many people are thinking about each other there. On
there's a healthy amount of sports hate, not real hate. There's no room for that. That's not the gospel of Jesus Christ. No hate, but sports hate. Come on, just for that situation. Yeah, come on.
Yeah. Well, my dad's a Ute, but he's very supportive of us and BYU. He'll wear a BYU hat. He'll go to the game with us.
No, that's crossing the line.
I would not return the favor for him. I
would never wear that. Yeah, no.
Yeah. So
yeah, that's a little too nice. I'm wondering what the motives are there. Yeah.
Well, the motive was it was a lot cheaper for him to send us to BYU than to...
Yes. That's a real thing. I love that because no one's saying the other way. I'm going, I should send him out there. If you're going into medicine, absolutely. But otherwise,
Yep. Well, I don't know. I do think BYU has the potential. I think, we have the depth. We're bringing back a lot of other guys. It's just that quarterback issue that's really holding us back. Otherwise, I think our expectations would be, can we go 11-2 or better? Or sorry, I guess 10-2 in the regular season or better would
win
be
the Big 12. We'd be talking about it.
Yeah, but my question, or not my question, I guess my point is, like, I don't think this team can get into if we are picking up a couple losses, I don't think this team, even starting the season at 26, is going to get an at-large spot into the playoff. I think we have to somehow get into the championship game and win it in order to get in. It would be my expectation. And in the Big 12, anything could happen. You could still, it's possible there's a couple losses and we're still finding our way in. But I just, based on last year and how BYU wasn't even in the conversation for that last spot. And, against other teams that I think BYU had a really strong case against, even if they didn't get it, I feel like they should have at least been in that conversation.
Yeah, 100%. And the SMU win helped a lot. BYU doesn't have that sitting there. Stanford's not going to be SMU, even though they're in the same league, which is super weird to think about. Is ECU the best Group 5 team, and now that's a significant win or something? It's not there. It feels like in the Big 12, and this is why they got rid of the preseason poll. They don't want. Well, they were this ranked 16th, so they should start back there. Arizona State or BYU, they should start. They were 13th in the preseason poll. They should go over there. No, they're all at the front of the starting line like a cross-country meet. Just everyone's sprinting out there evenly, not staggered F1 style or whatever. That could play into this. But to your point, it feels like if you're not in the Big 12 title game, you're probably not in the playoff. And so that's where you need to get. Tiebreakers are tough too. Like, you're in a 16-team league. BYU has to go 8-1 or 9-0 in league to ensure they're in the conference championship. That's how tough it is. And if you go 7-2 like last year, you may lose a tiebreaker and you're not in, even though you probably deserve to be competitively. Remember the conversation in the offseason too of if they expand to 16 teams, some leagues might do 1 versus 4, 2 versus 3, and not have a title game. Just like here are 2 best teams. If they had the automatic berth of 2, 3, or 4, that was interesting to me because I was like, would you want that? That would be really interesting to me. Of here we declare here are our 2 best teams, and then now you got a shot if you're the 3rd or 4th place team like last year. That would have been fun. But this team, they're gonna have to do something special to get to Arlington, and maybe they do it. It's an uphill climb with a new quarterback for sure. I wouldn't guess that it happens, but good gosh, do I want it to?
Yeah. Well, and that goes to start fitting those kinds of tournaments and things in there. You really do have to start going to week 0 or week -1 or whatever you call it. Like, you got to start moving.
You need an extra week. Yeah.
To fit all that.
More college football.
Yeah. Oh, darn. Try, like you said, try explaining that to your wife. So
hey, my job makes it easy.
Yeah, you got an excuse.
You already know. Oh, sorry, my bad. Yeah.
So please like this video and subscribe so I can make more money so my wife will forgive me.
If this pod takes off.
As it is right now, it's not cutting it. So,
mine's a labor of love too. Don't worry.
So I want to go back to comment here about the Holy War. I skipped over, but BYU football says one of the advantages of the Holy War earlier is the CCG acronym help. The week after rivalry weekend, BYU is always going to be nicked up after the game. Yeah, for sure. And we did touch upon this, but
at Iowa State,
I hate it. I hate it.
Would have loved like UCF at Cincy or Arizona there.
What do you think the Big 12 is going at now by getting away from that rivalry weekend for BYU and Utah? Are they just concerned you can't go up against Michigan and Ohio State and the Iron Bowl and the Egg Bowl, and they're just saying, well, let's take our big rivalry games and throw them in the middle of the season and see what happens?
Perhaps. I mean, they're taking Farmageddon to Ireland, for goodness sake. I think Yormark is a blue ocean strategy guy. So red ocean, all the sharks are blooding the waters with the same ideas. What is something different that can get us to stick out? That certainly does it, where you go, oh, dude, week 7 or whatever, game 6. That's a good one. But I was told that ESPN's already putting Stanford, Florida State that night, and I was like, what? Is it ESPN 2 with BYU that night? Do they somehow get a Fox Day game? I don't know. It's got to be exposed at the highest level. Let's be honest. It's just a good game in the Mountain Time Zone late at night after everyone else has played. And so I love night games at LES. I don't really care. I used to not like the 8:15s. Now I love them, honestly. I think it's pretty special. I know it stinks for the East Coast homies.
It is pretty bad for the East Coast.
I know that sucks, but we got to win more than we need to have convenient kick times.
We do. We need a win, and the Vampire Cougs is a real thing. I don't mind the night games. I do hate the 10:15 slot. I'd love a 7:15 Eastern kickoff. But it is what it is, man. If we can watch the Cougs, then it's awesome.
Yeah, it just stinks for the ward council 7 a.m. homies, you know.
Well, that's why you avoid getting called to those call-ins.
That's why I need to be in Young Men's.
Yeah, you have to do a better job, guys. I got some pointers for you. But, for me, kids are in bed. Like Baylor, I missed most of that game last year. You know which games I caught? I caught Kansas State. Actually, I did end up missing Kansas, but that's because someone broke their arm. But that's beside the point. But normally, I'm catching those games. And so
I feel like casting a lot of blame at your kids there, Trevor. I mean, it was casting broken arm.
My point is, if you want to watch college football, don't have kids. So,
hey, DVRs have saved a lot of marriages here. You know, you can record it. Turn off the notifications or don't look at your phone. You know. Well, it was funny. I was coaching my son's flag football game at like a 10 a.m. or whatever, and BYU played Baylor early last year. And someone goes, "Dude, how about that first quarter?" And I'm like, "Oh man, I didn't want to know anything."
I hate that. I'm so scared when I turn off my notifications. Yeah. I'm gonna run into somebody who's gonna be like, "Oh man, did you see that?" And I'm just.
It is hard.
One person says one thing, I'm like, well, I don't even need to watch the game now.
Well, Adam, I think it was you who texted me last year, but I wasn't looking at my phone. But the sheer fact that I could feel my phone, I was like,
it was probably
very good or very bad.
It was me trying to ruin that game for you.
Which, by the way, I've been watching all the games from last year in reverse order just to mix it up. So bowl game all the way to Southern Illinois. I watched the Utah game last week. I was nervous, like I didn't know what happened. Like the anxiety was real, even though I knew everything was going to be great. Will Farron was going to make it for 44. My heart was still pounding. Like I love what sports gives us. It's not like when you're a surgeon or a pilot. If you mess up, maybe people die. Like it's just fun to be together and conglomerate and root and commiserate, and it's just great. It's just great. Like my life is better, way better because we have sports. I'm actually a little afraid of the hereafter because I like it so much here. How will I fill that with more fulfilling, obvious, better, great, amazing things? But I'm like, oh, I just really like ball.
Well, then we can see, some of our best teams. We'll be able to see 2011 Jimmer versus 2025 AJ DeBonta teams go at it.
What would have happened if Brandon Davies was playing? Would they have? Yeah, I want to know all those scenarios. Yeah. I think we're going to be busy with more important things, but I love the idea. Yeah.
There's some fanciful ideas of the hereafter.
Yeah.
So speaking of ideas, so I had this idea and I was going to do a separate video on it, but we have you on, so I thought it'd be a fun conversation topic is because we've talked about these huge conferences. I really think the perfect number is 10. You can play all 9 conference games. You can play home and away with everybody in basketball. Like, it is just the ideal number, and you go round robin. But I was thinking, what if everybody, essentially, there were no conferences. Everybody just has 9 teams that they played every year. Does that make sense? Like, so like BYU and Utah could play each other, but maybe they, outside of that, they have completely separate opponents because that's what makes sense for those schools or whatever, right? So my thought process outside of it, more importantly, was just, if BYU could make the perfect conference for itself, who would they want in their conference? And so I'm kind of curious to hear what your guys' thoughts are on that. It's pick 9 teams to be
9 teams
that they would play every year. Yeah.
Well, let's think about this. You'd want some regional situation. You don't want to go crazy far, right?
And you think about it.
So if you're saying just 9 in any given year, or like you would always play these
9,
teams? Yeah,
9 always. Do you play every year? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. So you would have 9 consistent teams that you would play every year, and then you'd have 3 that would change out, just like now, out of conference.
Well, I think the obvious choice, you got to pull in the rivals, right? You got to pull in Utah. I think the question is, are we going to extend this to our G5 brethren? You know, Utah State, Boise State. Those are fun rivalries. Do we put them in a pseudo conference? Do we extend the hand to little brother? Sorry for our Utah State fans out there for the little brother comment, but
I don't feel like you actually mean
probably
that.
No. But so I think to me, Utah's the obvious team. From there, personally, I'd go regional. I like the corner schools. I like putting in Arizona State, Arizona. Those have been some fun ones. Maybe Colorado's a newer one. I don't know if there's really enough history there. TCU and Baylor I lean towards. So I like kind of the Big 12 component. But that's only what, 5-6 teams.
Okay, why you're talking. Here's what I jotted down. In no way is this final. We're just brainstorming here. Yeah, Utah. Part of me wants to not have Utah. Just to be spiteful. Yeah, maybe Utah State, Boise State. Just like, hey, regional, here we go. USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon, Arizona State, Arizona. Okay, I'm going to be honest. Like, I grew up a Pac-10 guy. I lived in Portland as a kid. I moved to Utah later. I loved watching Pac-10 football. And so BYU obviously didn't get invited there, and they had their chance for 40 years and chose not to. There's some, theological differences there. There's some, all kinds of political things that went into that. And, Stanford, Cal, USC, and so on and so forth. They had their chance. And then that league blew up. And I was really bummed. I know that a lot of BYU fans have sort of mocked the Pac-12, mainly because Utah was in it. But I was like, oh, dude, that is a killer. Yet we needed Texas and Oklahoma to go to the SEC for this to even happen. So I will forever be indebted to Texas and Oklahoma. Like, I will almost speak no ill of them. Because they're the reason BYU's in the Big 12. And we have to admit that. So I love the Arizona thing. I think there's so many BYU fans there that we need to be there. But yeah, Oregon, Washington, USC, UCLA, like a bunch of the West Coast. I don't mind, if you get some Texas in there, but from a realistic sort of this is our league, this is our area, this is our 2 time zone situation. 3 time zones is a wide swath, This 3 time zone thing we've got going, 3.5, I guess, with Arizona in the Big 12. It's a big league logistically. I mean, you just have to make it work. It's not ideal, but so that's my list. Utah State, Boise State, USC, UCLA, Washington, Oregon, Arizona State, Arizona. Something like that. I could be persuaded to have Colorado in there. Yeah.
So basically a revised Pac-12.
Revised Pac-12.
I'm surprised. I would think of it strategically, where maybe in recruitment, right, which is where a lot of conference growth comes from. And hey, do we need a toehold in Texas or California or Florida?
Sure.
And so BYU wants to show well in those states. And it is kind of hard because we have this P4, G5, G6 divide right now, where we came up from G5, right? I mean, 15, 16 years ago, that's where we're at. And so, yeah, I think if we form the perfect conference, you'd have to include some of that. where that's, Boise State was such a fun rivalry. And throw in Utah State. I'd be a fan of that. But I think I would.
Yeah.
Yeah, I would. It's a fun rivalry. It was pretty lopsided. So nice consistent victory for the Cougs. But they get us every once in a while and rub our faces in it. So
the only caveat there is we're never playing in Logan ever.
It's only a home game.
It's only a home game. Sorry. Somehow we finagled that. No, sorry.
What about Wyoming? We're gonna throw Wyoming in this?
Nice. Well, there's we never go there games. By the way, Utah's playing out Wyoming this year.
Utah is.
Yeah, that's one of the.
Whoa.
That's a road G5. What are we doing?
Yeah. Whoa.
I'm not a big road G5 thing. I am interested to see if Brian Santiago is. Tom
it'll be interesting.
Was a very loyal guy to contracts. He would say, "Hey, if we brought you here," and I think that with Wyoming specifically, guys, in the Black 14, there was so much good. It would have been weird for BYU to cancel that one specifically.
Yeah.
But yeah, moving forward, like at ECU, I don't like this game. It's too.
I know. Well, I don't like the at ECU game either, even though that's the one I can attend this year. So I'm thrilled I get to see him in person. But I don't like it. I don't want it on the schedule. I don't want to go East Coast G5 at the beginning of the year. That is not good. That is not good for us.
It's too should BYU win the game? Of course they should. BYU didn't in 2017, and they were giving up 50 points a game. Different BYU team, don't get me wrong, but there's a little scar tissue there.
There is. I was at that game. That hurt.
Yeah, it
hurt real bad.
But to 1-2's point, he says top 9 SEC teams. But in this, if I can pull it,
top 9 SEC teams.
Yeah. Oops.
So we never want to win 10 games ever again.
Well, my point is, one that would be too difficult. Two,
That's
they'd have to want you on their schedule, and with all the other rivalries, I don't think that would be realistic. I don't think any of them want BYU. It wouldn't make sense for them. But you got to be strategic and have some winnable games. And so for that reason, I think having Utah State on there. So I was thinking, Utah State. I agree with Boise State, the two Arizona schools. And Adam, I like that you brought up TCU and Baylor as well, because the TCU is a fun old rivalry. And then Baylor, I like what that's turning into. I'm glad we don't play them this year, but I wish we'd see them more frequently because it's fun when the two schools play
in the championship game. That'll be a good championship.
And here's what you guys
and they're gonna bring up Rob Wright III before basketball season. So yeah, and we're gonna be like, well, you guys got Jeff Grimes and the Barringtons. Before we ever.
Yeah, seriously, we were just getting back.
So what's this? We got Gary Bohannon. We didn't even plan that much.
Yeah. Yeah,
we ran in the bowl game a few plays.
That's right. And Caleb Lohner there, and they'd played him at tight end. They'd have an NFL tight end right now.
It's true. And fun fact: BYU's had. I think I shared it during the draft. A lot of Utah fans were like, "You can't claim him." I said Caleb Lohner's I think I said 4th, but it ended up being like the 5th BYU men's basketball player to be drafted into the NFL.
Wow!
It's a crazy.
I had no idea.
Gifford Nielsen played basketball for BYU. There was Bronson Kafusi.
Oh, yeah.
Jordan Cameron was a tight end at USC who was a Pro Bowler with the Browns. He actually was on the practice squad as a freshman. And then I'm trying to think. There was someone else. Caleb Lohner, of course. And then I think there was someone else. But it's like, what? This is a random.
Wow.
Yeah, it was super random.
Wow.
Oh, no, it wasn't Ziggy. He wanted to be on the basketball team.
Yes, that's why he came. That was his intent to be on the basketball team.
Fun fact, I played pickup ball in the Richards building with Ziggy multiple times before he was anything. And so when
did he have basketball skill?
Oh, yes. Like, I don't remember him ever shooting threes, though, because he would just get to the rim and dunk. So when he's on the football team the first year, I'm like, dude, what's up? Congratulations. And I'm like a familiar face. These are all like strangers on the football team. I'm like, congrats, bro. This is awesome, man. How's it going? Blah, blah, blah. Then he gets drafted 5th, and it's like, are you kidding me? We were playing pickup 2 years ago in the Richards building. Like, crazy. He's a Disney movie that has not happened yet.
Oh,
His
for real.
story is,
for real.
You remember that one with the 2 cricket players that made it to the minors or something from India or Pakistan? Like, I was like, that's a great story. It's still not as good as Ziggy's. I'm sorry. This is so good, and they haven't made it
yet.
Yeah. All right. Another comment here saying that BYU needs to start getting 7 to 8 home games. I don't know. I guess that is possible, but that would be great.
I do have an opinion on that because I've thought a lot of winning programs do this. They really do.
Yes.
And so the point of this is that it would increase tickets and fans. That's one concern that, it has to be considered. It increases tickets. So the season tickets are even more. They're a lot now. I know it's another level, blah, blah, blah. That's difficult. And so we'll see. I would love for BYU to actually have 7 a year. I'm on that. Again, we need to value winning over we need to value convenience in certain things. I know that's difficult. But I think Dave McCann said if you want a country club experience, you need to pay country club prices. And that's sort of what some of these games are being priced at a high level, and BYU's in the Big 12 and so on and so forth. So 8 games, I know, like, there are certain programs that have had 8 home games. That's an interesting take. I don't see the day where we'll ever have 8. I would love 7 consistently. Give me a G5 home game. That's the difference. Is that G5 game on the road or not? That's the difference.
Yep. Agreed.
Awesome. And then my brother here saying Ziggy was a monster. Jarom, go ahead and give my brother a little shout out here.
Let's go. He was a monster. That's exactly right. You know.
And he played for my Detroit Lions, so that was fun while we had him.
That was fun. He had a crazy good year. He played for my Seahawks too a little bit.
Oh, that's right.
Which was fun, and now he's living his best life.
Yeah. Good for him. So excellent. Well, we covered a lot, Jarom. We've taken a lot of your time. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much for joining us. It's always fun. Obviously, we're all looking forward to the season. We'll all be, I think, tuning in quite often to your show daily to get all the insights and everything throughout the season. But so wish you the best with that coming up. And is there anything you want to plug before we go?
No, we're kicking away. Yeah, consume all the Cougar content you want. There's a lot of great creators, you guys included, and BYU Sports Nation were there. And shout out to everybody that has a pod or wants to have a pod. Like, this is great. Like, there's room for everybody, which is cool. So keep doing what you guys are doing, and go Cougs, man.
All right. Appreciate it, Jarom. Thanks.
Thanks, Cougs.
Go Cougs.